At the end of the day, like, I can't control what other people think of me. All I can do is just really get in touch with who I know I am and be very, very cemented in that, which is something that I always struggled with growing up, because I was raised in a broken family.
I feel like you definitely are in like a spotlight, so you can like share a little bit more too of like how you feel. But it's funny because, you know, I talk about it often, is like I hate tension and I hate any sort of drama or conflict with anybody, but yet instantly when you become in a certain spotlight or known, you instantly just get and the negativity, even if somebody knows nothing about you, it's like they just feed on the negative.
And people want to project, because if there's, you know, their own, we're all projecting at the end of the day. Like, I do it myself. I catch myself doing it, where I feel less if I see someone, then I'm like, well, I'll find something to bring them down so it makes me feel better. And it's just understanding that that's how, like, it's kind of by design we're a little bit like that, but then it's just bringing that awareness to the consciousness.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But I know, like, with what you do, you help with rehabilitation. You've obviously probably done your own digging up and understanding where that comes from. Like, how do you go with that?
So I went through my process 12 years ago, and I learned a lot about myself. However, the program I went to was like a cognitive therapy base. So really all about tools to be able to basically say, touch that, but withdraw from it. You know what I mean? How do you avoid situations, which I feel is very helpful when dealing with addiction, because you have to be able to say no. You know, something you should have learned as a child, it's like just say no to drugs, but it's really hard to do, especially when you have that addict behavior. And so it was great in that sense to learn coping skills and relapse prevention tools, but there wasn't a lot of actual therapy. There was no therapist. There was no,
Sorry to interrupt, but how long ago was that?
12 years ago.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. So I was in my early 20s, so I was young.
Yeah.
And it was very useful, very helpful for me. And I kind of just stayed in the recovery space. And started working in the program, then opened up my own facility. And so for many, many years, I thought that I was staying on top of myself and my self-care and my recovery by working in the workspace. And to some degree, yes, that is true. It's been helpful. But I didn't have the tools to deal with too much chaos. And as business grew, it was also raising a family and small children. So like chaos was just building constantly. And that's where I started realizing, like, wait a minute, like, this is a lot for me to deal with and cope with. And I don't know that I actually have those tools. So starting to do a lot of retreats, I've, committed myself to like one time a year to just take a break and focus on me. And that I went to a trauma retreat in Nashville.
Wow.
Which was phenomenal. It was 5 days, no phones, completely undone.
Yeah. Wow.
And it really started peeling back the layers and a lot of work that I've never done before. I didn't even really know it even existed. And so it was really powerful, and I gained so much from it. And then the next one I had went to was when I went to We Care, which is where we met there. Oh my God, what an experience. Oh my goodness.
That was your second retreat?
That was just my second one.
Oh my God. I felt like you were a pro retreater when I met you. I was like, this girl, she's been doing this 5 times already.
Yeah, maybe because like I'm a pro rehabber. I'm like, know all about programming. But for myself, not so much.
Yeah.
But we have the amazing Bianca Richards with us, and I am so happy to have you here.
I'm so honored to be here. Thank you.
You're just
Thank you
such
so
a
much.
sweet soul. And I mean, I briefly met you at this retreat, and instantly I was like, I love her. She's so sweet. And you just, when people walk around, you can just tell that they have the biggest hearts and pure souls.
And the feeling was reciprocated when I met you. Like, it was just, you were just a beam of sunshine and so happy. And it's interesting because I would never have known, now speaking to you about your history, I think the things that break us really make us. Because like now that I'm learning, I'm like, wow, you've been through so much to make you who's sitting in front of me now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's that's the thing, is we all have such unique stories, and I love meeting people who just have different, backgrounds and careers, and it's just fascinating to me to be like, okay, I love, like, you are a model and you are amazing at the work you do, so I'm interested to hear a little bit about what that looks like for you and the struggles that come along with it. I'm sure that it's not easy. I mean, I can't even pose for 2 seconds just to take one.
Oh my God, I don't even know what I'm doing half the time.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I could imagine like moving. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a kink or something. So how do you do it? Is there like a class that you have to take?
I don't even know how I feel like it was just a sequence of fortunate events that got me to where I am. I never thought I could ever be a model. I did bodybuilding in another lifetime. So that probably gave me a little bit of experience in posing and understanding the body. And then, yeah, like I said, like I didn't think I could be a model, but I guess the universe was like, you need to be here. So this is how we're going to do it. And I love the creative side of it. I love working with creative people. Like, that's what brings me to life. But it's definitely like, I have my moments. It's not my passion. I really am someone who is more interested in self-growth, self-development, and probably a side that I don't really share as much on my social media platform because I am a very private person. But that's actually where my true passion lies. But modeling has given me the opportunity to travel the world. I love adventures. I get to meet people like you. I get to meet all sorts of people, which is just, I mean, I couldn't be more fortunate to have had that. So
definitely.
But definitely, like, I've had certain things have happened since I've been, I guess, in the industry, and I've had to compartmentalize those things, like whether it's events that have happened or things that people have said. And all of those things kind of just helped shine a light on parts of myself, because at the end of the day, like, I can't control what other people think of me. All I can do is just really get in touch with who I know I am and be very, very cemented in that, which is something that I always struggled with growing up, because I was raised in a broken family. My father left. My mum wasn't well, and she had my sister and I became a very, because the environment was very unstable, I had to really lose who I was and be very tuned into my parents. So I became very codependent. I became someone who was I had to keep my mum happy. So, these are things that as you get older, you start to realize, that's not normal not to have boundaries. And that's not normal to want to be a people pleaser, because you think you're doing this just wonderful thing, but what you actually is you're trying to control other people's opinions of you. So my biggest struggles growing up was something that getting into this industry was something that shone the light on that, because I was like, I can't make everyone happy. Not everyone's going to like me. And I've really got to like now learn who I am and like where I start and where I finish, not going into like being codependent or hyper vigilant of everybody else.
Right. And having to, at a young age, when you should be playing the child role, you're now reversing and you're being the caretaker.
Yeah. I have a feeling your experience probably was something similar to that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you really understand that. Yeah.
And like you said, you don't realize that as a kid, you know, and I look back, I had a great childhood. I have an amazing family, but I had an absent father. And my mom did a phenomenal job playing both roles. So I didn't really know any different. Yeah. But what I do know is that I now, like you said, right, looking back, I stepped in as that parent figure for my little brother, So
you the oldest?
I am.
Okay, yeah. That's always, you become a bit of the caretaker.
What about you?
I'm the oldest as well. So yeah, the caretaker role, when you're supposed to have your needs met and you're supposed to be looked after, as the eldest, you become the caretaker for the parent. Like you just,
Right, so, exactly. And that's how I felt, with my little brother. We're 3 years apart, but just even as a little girl, and I mean, and to some degree, it could be being a female and and just having that nurturing characteristic about myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm still that way. I'm still the caretaker. But I'm learning now that I have to take care of myself, you know, and my husband always says it's a blessing and a curse. Like, I have such a big heart, and he sees me, you know, I light up when I'm able to help people, but it also, I take everything so personal because I want to help everybody that it really hits me really hard when something doesn't go right, or, you know, and so it's hard and I love it, but I'm learning the boundaries.
Yeah.
Which is really difficult sometimes, you know, to not always be there for everybody else and have to show up for yourself.
Yeah.
And it seems like you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Trying to take
us. Yeah. So we're figuring it out. We're like, what is boundaries?
Yeah.
Like, this is a foreign language to me. And like, we have to learn this now. Like it's, whereas if you had a normal, stable childhood, a parent would have met your needs, gone, this is not right. And you would have felt safe enough to feel like you can say no to things, or you don't have to do things to make somebody else happy because you're looking after yourself. So for us, it's like, we got to learn this now as adults. Yeah.
And it's important because when it comes down to our careers, it's just us. You know, we can have friends and family to lean on, but whatever we encounter through our career, our profession is affecting us and only us. It's one of those things where everyone around us can only imagine how that makes you feel or what you're going through, but we have to be able to process whatever is happening in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And relearning that and being okay with it. But it's amazing that doing different retreats in different ways, how much you gain from them.
Oh,
I mean, it's been the most amazing experience, and I feel like everybody should take the time to do these things for themselves.
I get goosebumps. I think it's the most profound thing that I've done, to, you know, to have that where you've been broken. When you mend that, you become so much more, you expand so much more as a person. Yeah.
So much healthier too.
Yeah.
You know, just in a clearer mental space. And my biggest thing too is letting people know it's okay to do that. You're not a weak person because you go check into a place that says, give me your cell phone for so many days. That makes you a really strong person.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to say, okay, I'm going to do this and it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go into it with an open mind and hope that I gain as much as I can in this short amount of time for myself, that I can utilize it in my day-to-day routines and reality, to be able to encounter and face life as it comes every single day.
Yeah.
So how often do you...
And just on what you just mentioned, one of my favorite quotes to say to people on the strength that it takes to actually to do something like that, it's not a weakness, is and I think this probably applies to a lot of people that have addictions, whether it be a substance or whether it be a habit that you have, whether it's love or sex or anything like that. A quote that I heard, which I thought was great, was the only way out of pain is through it. Because all of these things at the end of the day are just trying to numb our pain. But if you want to get out of it, like during these retreats and really looking at yourself and really doing the work, that takes so much courage and strength. Like you're opening the door to the messy room and you're like, I got to clean this. Like, otherwise this is going to keep biting me out. So I'm going to keep repeating patterns and I'm going to stay stuck. So yeah,
it's very true.
Yeah.
And that part's really hard to do.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a lot of willpower to be able to do that. What type of, you know, self retreats or help or what, you know, whatever you want to call it, that do you do for yourself? Where do you find it most benefiting?
So I was lucky because, my mum, as difficult as it was for her, she was an incredible woman. And she was someone that she knew she had problems and she really wanted to be better. And so she always introduced us. My first book that she gave me was from Louise Hay, like How to Heal Your Life. So at a young age, I was exposed to that. So I had the baggage, but I was also given the tools. It was like, you know, this is a way, like, I know I'm passing this down to you, but here's some stuff like, I couldn't do it. You try do it for, you know.
Right.
So luckily I had that, and I just always gravitated towards doing self-growth. I did a co-counseling course when I was in my teens, which gave me the tools to ask myself the right questions. It was more like, how do you ask the right questions to help yourself find the problems? And I think the question is very important. And I use that with other people too that I speak to. Like, it's like, I can't tell you. I could probably see what's happening with most people, but I'm not helping them by telling them. I'll only help them if I help them shine the light themselves on those areas, and that's through questions. I recently did a lot like the retreat you did. I went away for a 5-day retreat where we handed in our phones. And it was amazing because I was with a group of people. We couldn't talk about what we did for work. We couldn't even really say our real names. We were just there to be like, this is us at our rawest form. We all are in some way trying to repair parts of ourselves that are broken. And it was just amazing to see these people just being their true, authentic selves and connecting with people. It was the connection you had with people and the love and like the grace that these people had was just amazing. And I'm sure that you had a very similar experience in the retreat that you did. Like, imagine if we lived in a world like that, right? We could just be like, take our masks off, and just be like, we're human. Being human is hard. Like, we're struggling. Like, we don't have to be these strong people. Like,
and to what I had learned so much about myself, but it's crazy that I actually learned so much about myself through other people's journeys and stories.
Wow.
That was powerful to, like you said, turn on your phone, couldn't say what we did because they didn't want that to be the spark of conversation.
Exactly,
because naturally that's what we do when we meet other people is we instantly want to start a conversation by saying, oh, what do you do? Oh, what do you do? And then it opens up the door to be able to talk about careers and then build a relationship.
Yeah.
Where I love that they said, do not talk about your career. Talk about who you are and get to know each other. And I built some of the best core friendships there because at the end, when we did talk about, we were able to at the end get our cell phones, exchange contact information. It's like, what you do? What? And it was so crazy.
Oh, I know.
To even know.
These people got up and they're like, I'm a CEO of this. And I was just like, wow, like these people do mind-blowing things with their careers. Like the most, like you, like someone who does something so mind-blowing as a career. But you're like, that's because I had to go through so much. Like it made you such a resilient, such a resourceful, intelligent person that wants to give back. But it was so impressive to hear what they actually did in their real life.
Right. Or hear, for me, and this is, getting pretty vulnerable. I know I've talked about, I went to the retreat for a few reasons. I had lost one of my brothers, and that was really hard because, again, being that caretaker and staying strong for everybody, I felt I had to do that. I'm the oldest of 8. So I was raised with my mom and my other brother, and my dad, had 5 other children. So it was kind of just like a split family and grew up not really even knowing it.
And you were the caretaker for most of these boys. So were you the only girl?
I have two younger sisters, but we all built a relationship later on in life.
Yeah.
And so, we built our relationship as these siblings because we weren't raised together as young children.
Mm-hmm.
And when, and then being the oldest, watching my family go through something so tragic was really, really hard. And I felt like I just had to try to keep myself together, how to continue being a mom, I had to continue being, the facility counselor and being there for all of our clients. And so it was really, really difficult for me. And I feel like everything just started crashing down. I was becoming, impatient and just with everybody around me. But I also feel because of my childhood and having an absent father, I've learned through processes, right, that I have fear of disconnection. So I have fear of somebody leaving that I care a lot about. And so that's, projected onto my husband numerous times, like of complete fear, like it's too good to be true type deal, right? I don't trust that this is going to last really forever. It's a temporary thing.
Yeah.
And so going to on-site in Nashville, I went into it with, I'm going to be completely vulnerable, open, and honest because I want to gain everything that I can, even if it's uncomfortable or if someone's looking at me like a psychopath, whatever I need to do. But, doing so and hearing, so we were in a room with a few other individuals and we all shared our stories openly with everyone. And that was like interesting. Like, well, this is going to get a little like, how do we do that? But I told myself, no, you said you would go into it completely open and honest. But to be the one that's the questioner, the attacker, the are you doing this? Are you doing that? Not realizing what it's doing to the other individual. To hear somebody else in the room who's there because they're in his shoes.
Oh, wow.
And having a spouse who's constantly questioning them and how it makes them feel.
Wow.
I was like, oh, like I'm that person. And then we had a role play. So I was the perfect person to role play as the wife who's already doing it. And that was
how fortunate for you.
Right.
That's an amazing experience.
So much because I'm like, I have to role play the person that I already am, but that is traumatizing and bringing so much hurt to that individual in the room, and to watch them break down and cry and
have a real perspective of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, I don't want to be that person.
Wow.
And this is how they're feeling. So like gaining so much of my own personal stuff through somebody else's you know, problems and issues and what they're there to try to heal from. It was really, really powerful. So it's, you know, I love to share with other people, whether it's friends, family, clients, that it is okay to say, I need to continue working on myself. I think we can always work on ourselves. I don't think there's ever a cap of, okay, I've done enough work, I can stop here.
I wish there was.
It
doesn't. You go to the next one and you're like, okay, new level, new devil, as they say. Like, you know, you move past a certain point and they're like, okay, now there's other things that come up as well. Yeah.
Right. It's like constantly coming up. And so, but that's a beautiful thing is now I look forward to it because I want to be able to be the better version of myself always as life shifts and my kids are growing older, and, you know, I want to be able to be there for them, but to do that, I have to show up for myself, you know?
Yeah.
How often do you participate
in the
different sorts of retreats? And
I'm very lucky because my sister, she's always studying, like she's always doing self-growth workshops. So I luckily have someone that I can check in with who will run processes for me.
Oh, wow.
So she's amazing.
Yeah.
And most of my friends are people, like I've been fortunate enough to connect with other people that want to grow and develop. So when I interact with them, we're always kind of asking those questions, and we're normally running some kind of process on each other. I will be doing a course myself so that I can run the processes more, like be more studied on it. But I do run the processes that I did at Hoffman myself, and I also have a little network of people that we kind of are like, this is our little group now, so we're always going to check in with each other, and if things are not okay, we're going to ask the right questions or run a process. I do my morning little check-ins, like we have a quadrinity check that we do just to kind of like bring all of our parts of ourselves together. And journaling is something that I've brought into my life as well. So just really bringing the subconscious to the conscious, and just making sure that I'm as self-aware as I can be for myself and for other people as well. Yeah, but I love it. Like I'm like you. Like I don't want to stop growing and developing. Like I want to keep improving, and I want to bring more complete and wholeness, because you've done that and now you're helping other people. And that's what we need. We need more people in the world that do that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, do you feel like it's helped you with coping? You know, where do you feel like your stressors were the most? Like as far as, you know, some people just get really either burnt out or overly stressed out if, you know, like quickly. I feel like I used to be that way. Everything stressed me out like instantly right away. And that
the bucket was full. There wasn't much room left for,
Right. Yeah. I've gotten much, much better of being able to do that. But have you discovered that for yourself?
Definitely. And do you think that is also related to your nervous system and running processes that help calm your nervous system down? Because I think when we're in fight or flight a lot, like whether we can intellectualize it, like the body still knows, like the body keeps score. So if your nervous system is constantly like on the go, like you end up getting overstimulated, and then your little things that normally you can handle quite well, you just can't handle that anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that has a lot to do with everything, which is why I feel when you wake up in the morning and having your own process, which may look different for different people, but that is extremely important to set that intention for the whole day to be able to deal with stress or chaos as it comes.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I could have nothing in my calendar, and because of work, everything could hit the fan. I could have 4 people come in who need help. 2 are getting sent to the emergency room because their withdrawals are so bad, and 1 wants to leave. And, you know, there could be so much that happens in a day when you woke up not knowing anything was going to happen that day.
Wow.
You know, and being able to put out those fires for other people, you have to be solid. You know, you have to be able to say like, okay, and if you're not, then it makes it really hard to come up with solutions, because those are things that they're instant solutions you have to figure out right away. And I definitely feel that when you are taking care of yourself, you know, nutrition, exercise, adequate sleep, all of those things make a huge difference. And I feel when you're starting a company or career or profession, whatever it is that you're doing, you give it your all at the beginning till you're naturally burning out. So you're excessively working yourself. You're not getting the sleep that you need because there's no boundary there. You either are not eating or overeating because you're constantly on the go. So you haven't prepared what your day is going to look like. Or, okay, I'm going to work out, but I'll do it after work, and now I'm too tired, so I didn't work out at all. So it's easy to get overwhelmed and stressed out because you haven't come up with a healthy routine for yourself yet. And that took me many years to do. Plus, I was losing sleep with babies and waking up in the middle of the night.
That's a lot.
It was all just so much.
Wow.
Where now it's like, it's almost been 10 years, and I feel like I finally am able to just get through my days a lot smoother and calmer.
Do you think do you attribute that to micro, little, small things that you implemented to eventually get yourself to that point of being able to have stability throughout your day from...
Absolutely. I was the number 1 fat dieter.
I understand that.
In my pantry, I had every single diet that you've seen on social media, television, from your friends. Oh my goodness. I remember cleaning it out one time. I'm like, this is embarrassing. And none of it.
I've been there. Yeah.
I was just trying to figure out a quick fix. You know, and that can go back to, you know, my behaviors if I need things instantly. That
I was going to say 0 to 100. Like there's the moderation, which sometimes people like our kinds of people struggle with. It's like we're all or nothing. It's like we get hyper fixated on something, or we're just like, wait, because we almost get used to doing things under pressure. It's like if there's no pressure, I can't do it. Like, and that's when I'm going to really hyper focus on that. And
so it's I still operate that way, I feel, but I've learned to recognize it. And still have
managing it,
better routine to be able to do it calmer and not so chaotic. So it's, you know, waking up for me, my routine is early, 4:30 in the morning, work out, do what I need to do, and set my day. As well as being able to make sure that I'm getting the right family time and setting those boundaries. But it definitely was a slow, gradual process. Nobody wants to hear that if you just eat clean and work out every day, eventually you hit your goals, right? Everyone wants like, how can I get that in 2 weeks or 1 month?
I was the same. I fasted on water for 2 weeks once. Like I was exactly the same. Like I had no moderation. I just was like, I have to do it now, and I'm going to do it as extreme as possible. But it took, I think, 10 years for me to learn, like, to develop moderation to my life. I still struggle with it a bit, but I can relate to that.
What does your routine look like? Because, I mean, you have the spotlight of, you know, I mean, you look fantastic and amazing, but it's like that's a lot of pressure to have to keep up with yourself, you know, for so many different things and events and appearances and shoots and whatnot. So what has your routine look like for you?
So fortunately, I did bodybuilding for like a good amount of time. So I think that really laid down a good foundation for me to stay in shape. And I've always been very health conscious. So, I mean, we met at We Care. which says a lot about where we are with our relationship to healthy living. So I've always had a very healthy diet. I was vegan for a while, and then I realized that I do need to bring meat into my diet, which helped me a lot. But I mean, I Pilates, meditating, I feel like it's between managing my health and keeping myself as healthy as possible. But like the other 50% is keeping my head healthy, because that actually will affect my physical health more than anything else. So I do my meditations, I do Joe Dispenza in the morning, I do my journaling, I try to do my breathing exercises, whatever I can do to keep myself calm here is, yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
I feel
it's a lot of work.
Yeah, the exercising part, I feel like that part I don't struggle with as much as it is like, well, I have 3 small children who have like goldfish and then want pizza for dinner or something.
And then you want to eat it. When you're eating it, yeah, I would struggle.
The discipline.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like still trying to do that.
If you put food in front of me, I want to eat it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's really, really difficult, but you feel so much better when you make sure you try to stay in consistency.
Do you plan your food, or do you just kind of like have healthy options in the fridge available?
I do have more of the options available.
Yeah.
I definitely feel more successful when I have it planned out. I'm still just trying to find that balance. That's hard. And then again, it's a slow progress, right? It was incorporating the working out, making sure I was staying consistent with that. Then incorporating the food, and I'm still trying to learn that, because it's like, it's difficult. Plus, as we get older, it's not the same.
I mean, you look great.
Thank you. You're so sweet. But
I don't know what your genetics are, but you look great.
I was like a tiny thing, and I can eat whatever I wanted, And now as you get older, it's like that is not the case. You can't do that anymore. So I'm still trying to learn that for myself. And, going to these different places that are able, like We Care, the cleanse, just to be able to just mentally unplug and be able to meditate and also just cleanse your body. It feels so amazing to do that every once in a while. I need to go back. I think it's been a few years.
Oh my God, I can't believe how long ago it was.
I think so.
I feel like it was only a year ago.
I know,
but time is just going like this.
It goes
now.
by so fast.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about what you're going to take a course to be able to help other people.
It's a trauma course. And when you do the course, like you do your own trauma work, and then you get given the tools that you can help other people. I've done a little bit of myself, but I've struggled because I've heard when I did co-counseling when I was younger, like you hear some heavy stories from people. I'm not sure where this adventure will go for me as far as my draw to this, because I am a highly sensitive person, and it's very hard for me to kind of like unplug from other people when I hear something that's really horrific. But it's just something for myself to have that tool and to help other people that I'm close to. I'm not sure where that will go, but it is something that it calls me. Like, it definitely calls me. Yeah.
Why do you feel so passionate about, this work? I mean, it's interesting for me to learn this side of you, because I didn't know you had so much passion for other people as well as, your own work, but more projecting that onto others. I mean, there's a few people in this world that operate that way, and care for others so much to where you're going to do the work yourself. Like you just said, do the work yourself so you can help others. I mean, I'm in a line of a profession that's what we do.
Yeah.
But to meet somebody who's not working like in this field, in the mental health or the substance abuse field, that has that passion is really inspiring to hear that there's other people with completely different career paths that are wanting to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I kind of look at the world from a big perspective, and I don't know if I'm just very tuned into like thinking, where can we fix things? And I see people in LA walking around that are just not looked after. Like, people are just not taken care of. And I always ask myself, why is it like this? Like, why can't we live in a world where people are taken care of, have calm nervous systems, and I'm like, are we living in a fractured culture? And why don't we have more compassion for each other? Like we're hard on ourselves, and we're hard on other people, but we're harder on ourselves than we are to anybody else. We're not kind to ourselves. I think that if you think like this, like it's kind of your duty to help lead our culture in that direction, to not be so hard, to have more kindness and compassion, because children like us are coming into the world, and it's hard. Like being human is hard. Like we need to.
What do you think that we could do differently to help today's society? Because what I have come to find working in this space is there's not enough resources. And I feel like there's a lot of great, amazing help. And you and I are fortunate enough to be able to provide that help for ourselves.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that I'm like, they would have really benefited from on-site, or they would really benefit from this, but they don't have the resources.
Yeah.
So, and me, I'm always willing to help as many people as I possibly can.
Even doing this is helping people.
Right.
Because we're lucky that if someone told us 30 years ago that there's going to be something in the world that's going to connect everybody around the world, we'd think it's something like spiritual or we have the internet now, and even you doing this, like you've gone through these experiences and now you're sharing your knowledge, which is your resources, with the rest of the world. Like sometimes I'll go on my phone and I'll scroll through and I'll see people that are sharing things, and they'll be giving me insight into something myself. So like just doing this, I think, helps a lot, because you start to make people think a little bit differently.
It's very true.
Yeah.
It's very true. It would be even cool to do some sort of like a free webinar.
Yeah.
For like an hour even, of just, some, different experts and professionals or people with experience to be able to share tools and their journey for people to be able to gain something. Because I agree. I mean, the society's so broken.
Yeah.
People are broken. They're not getting the help that they deserve and need. And our children, I fear for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel that it would be really beneficial if our schools could start incorporating meditation.
I feel the same way. I couldn't agree more.
Just we may not want to necessarily use the terms anxiety and depression at such a young age, but feeling sad and nervous, are terms that they can understand and agree with, and what they can do to get through that process when you're about to take a test at school.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't feel comfortable in that subject. And, how can they process that? Or if they feel really sad, because
emotional intelligence.
Absolutely.
We're taught education in a very there's a word like your maths and your English, but they're not teaching emotional intelligence. If you don't teach children emotional intelligence, they grow up being sometimes a bit of a disaster. Like,
right.
We need to learn these things.
And some have it more than others. Some have anxiety more than other people do. Some people have depression, more than others. And starting to be able to recognize what that is and what that feels like at a young age, I feel could really benefit their coping mechanism and tools when they're older.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. Like addressing it when the like at a younger age for children, rather than for when you become an adult. It's always harder to unpack things and to figure these things out if you even choose to do that. But if you can instill these tools into children, you're bringing in a different society. Yeah.
Now, so your sister also does a lot of this stuff as well.
Yeah. So my sister was we both really struggled with our home life, and I was a lot more quiet and submissive, and my sister was just a wild child. Like if she hears this, she'll kill me, but she was really wild. And the first thing she did was a 10-day Vipassana. I don't know if you've heard of a Vipassana. So Vipassana is a 10-day silent meditation retreat. So she went from partying to doing a 10-day
Sounds
silent.
like my kind of girl.
Love her. She's awesome. And
10 day, did she not talk?
She talked for 10 days.
Wow.
She woke up at 4:30 in the morning. She meditated for 8 hours a day. And she's done this, I think, a good 5 or 6 times now. I think she's going to ascend in this lifetime. I don't know. It's like she's on Buddha level, and she's got 3 little boys, 3 gorgeous little boys. She runs she's a health coach. So she helps with people with hormonal issues and women and bodybuilding and all. She's a phenomenal human being. Like, I couldn't be more proud of who she is. But yeah, she started with Vipassana. She went all that way, and she just continued building and developing her skills. So
I don't know if I can do that one. I don't know if I'm willing to.
We should do it. We should. Honestly, I would do it with you. I don't want to do it.
Catch myself talking to myself in the bathroom, probably.
I'll be sending you notes.
There you go. Yeah. I was so have books written by the end of this. Yeah. Communicating is like, I have to do it. I cannot.
Are you a Gemini?
Leo.
Are you a Leo? There's your hair. Yes.
Yes, I have to talk. Oh, but that would be probably my biggest achievement if I can go succeed at a 10-day.
Yeah, but I don't talk as much, but I feel like it would be, because I don't know if it's ADHD or what it is, but I have a short, so I think, but my sister, like, she completely transformed, and she took a completely different path in her life after she did that. Really? She went from being, I'll use the term self-destructive. That's what I saw her doing.
Right.
She went from that to someone who was, I'm going to get my life sorted out, and she became a complete, whole, happy person, beautiful family now.
Wow.
One of the best, healthiest relationships. My sister and my brother-in-law, they have such a healthy relationship. Like, she's outstanding, like, from what she's gone through. Yeah.
I'd love to pick her brain on that.
Oh, I'll definitely connect you guys.
Where do they have those at?
She's in Adelaide, South Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And they have them here as well?
The pastas, no. The pastas are everywhere. They're everywhere in the world.
I mean, we can say it's not here. We could say it's in Australia, and that just gives me a reason. I need to go there.
Come with me. I'm going to go back in March. It's beautiful. The weather's lovely.
Wow.
Yeah.
How often do you go back home?
I haven't been home for 3.5 years. So I'm going home for the first time March. So, and I'll meet my 2 nephews that I haven't met yet. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's going to be... I feel like so much has happened since I've lived here, and I've gone great things, but also devastating things that I've gone through here, which have broken me, but in a way that's been like, okay, nothing would have made me grow as much as being here. Like, I wouldn't have had the growth that I did. So it'd be interesting to go home after everything that's changed me and transformed me back to my home and the people that I knew before. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What are some of the things, if you don't mind sharing, that you've gone through here that's been really hard to get through?
So I've had through relationships, I'd say that's what's really shown me parts of myself that I really struggled with. And that's part of the reason why, I think our relationships are our best teachers. Like, nothing will teach you who you are like your closest person. So I've gone through some of my most challenging triggers in my relationships, my relationship, but even in work as well. Like, I've had certain things that have happened, and they really forced me to kind of look at myself and go, what are my patterns? What am I attracting? How am I responding to this? Like, why am I doing this? Like, why I have a bit of a history of certain things that I've had play a theme in relationships. So those are things that really came to the surface when I was here. I feel like I had a messy room that I didn't open the door to it most of my life. And when I came here, and, as time goes on and we revolve around the sun, we start to go, okay, like, I've spent a bit more time on Earth, and I'm starting to see things, and I want to address these things, and I want a different path. Like, I don't want to keep making these decisions.
Right.
Like, unconsciously, I want to consciously make these decisions now. So it's been completely transformative to how I see who I was being. And yeah, I know it's a little bit ambiguous what I said, but if that makes any sense. Yeah.
That's good though. I mean, I think that that's a valid point, is that we do learn so much through relationships, good or bad.
Yeah.
You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about, what we want to do differently for ourselves or for next relationship or whatever it may be. So for the young girls who are going through the heartbreak early on, because we've all been there.
It's worth it. It will get through it.
Yes, you will get through it.
Because you'll get stronger.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Bianca, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure, and I'm excited to see what you do next in helping
other people in Australia.
Yeah, we're doing it. That's what we're doing. Yes. Oh man, everyone pray for me if I do that. How do people find you if they want to follow up with your journey? And
probably my Instagram, Bianca. Sorry, I have to say the American way. No one understands the Australian pronunciation. I've had to relearn my name here. Bianca_Richards. Yeah.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.